Hi, this is Bill at Billboard Comics, coming back to you with a very special edition of The Girlfriend's Guide to Comics. Um, I know I haven't done much about this, but we are in the midst of what they call convention season, and I'd like to give you my guide to comic book conventions. Um, this is actually, at once was the Film Buff Online um, guide to comic book conventions, because I did a whole uh, series of articles about that. Um, at the website. I'll give you a link to the most recent one down there. I think the last one I did was like about 4 years ago, right after the pandemic came back. But I think that for novices, like even like people who like are not involved in comic books, or people who have never been to a convention before, this could be a valuable like primer for what you could need to expect for a comic book uh, collecting and comic book conventions and stuff like that. First of all, you know, uh, I've been like going to comic books conventions for decades, like probably at least over 20 years. All manner of them. I've been to San Diego. I've been to pretty much every New York Comic Con there was. I hope you can't hear that plane going over, but if we do, let's see here. Should I get rid of that? Right. So, to give you my qualifications, I've been going to comic book conventions for decades, at least over 20 years. All manner of comic book conventions, big and small. I was to San Diego Comic Con. I've been to pretty much every New York Comic Con there was, but also been to stuff that was held in, you know, hockey rinks or in the ballroom of a hotel room. Um, you know, basically stuff where it's like kind of like a vendor here and there, uh, set up in a shopping mall. So I have experience with this kind of stuff. I don't like to pass up what I've learned over the decades to you guys. Um, so first of all, let me start where I started. There is basically what you need to know about this to get started. First of all, let's any planning for conventions or how to go to conventions should start with pre-gaming. Um, very seldom can you just walk into a convention with no battle plan and just come out with and expect to have a good time. Maybe with like the smaller like hotel cons or stuff like that, where you just like or on the weekends, which is like now happen more often now. They say this is like the start of convention season, but really convention season doesn't really conventions don't really have seasons. Every week you could find a show someplace in the United States, sometimes more than one, going on at the same time. Um, so like it's like a 24/7, 365 uh, kind of thing, 52-week a year kind of thing. Um, but regardless of what you should also like pregame. Uh, Basically, you have to this starts with doing research, not only about especially about the con that you want to do. Take for instance, like right now, you might be going back to the girlfriend's guide concept. You might be wanting to as a special treat to your boyfriend or girlfriend, buying them a ticket to um, San Diego Comic Con. It's coming up in July. You figure you want to make sure you arrange your budget, so you decide to like buy tickets in now February, as I'm recording this February or whatever. I have some hard news for you. You're not going to get tickets. Tickets all sold out back in September when the people who run the San Diego Comic Book Convention um, put them on sale. They're that popular. They probably sold up within an hour, probably even within half an hour. So you are not going to go get that now. You have to wait if you want to go to San Diego Comic Con, probably to this coming September, and try your luck then with no guarantees. Um, if you want to go to another big one, New York Comic Con has not announced their ticket on sale that as of yet, as far as I could tell, as of this taping. Um, so you might have a chance for there. But you need if you think about doing a comic book convention, know when tickets go on sale. Try to get them as quickly as you possibly can. For a case of like San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con, that means like be at your desk in front of there, try to get an individual queue as soon as they go on sale. And usually they go on sale like something like Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And you might say like, well, I'm not taking off work to do that. I'll see what happens later. And your number will probably be, your options will be really limited. You might only be able to get like say Thursday tickets or Sunday tickets when you really want a Saturday ticket. Um, so you might have to plan ahead with that, like request a day off, or at least come in later, come in earlier, work from home or whatever, to make sure you're online to do that kind of thing. Um, you also should like research exactly like who is going to be at the con, um, like what type of convention it is. Like I said, like the big one comic book conventions are New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con, but a lot of the floor space is taken up by in San Diego film studios and stuff, hawking their wares. In New York, it seems like access on like video games, anime, and the publishing industry, like books, like Penguin and HarperCollins and all those guys. But there's also like, stuff like the fan expos, which kind of took over from uh, the Wizard Worlds. Wizard Worlds were exclusively like basically celebrity meet and greets. Fan expos kind of are still very celebrity heavy, but they also have a limited amount of comic books. I went to last year the Wizard World, not Philadelphia Fan Expo, and there's like maybe two or three comic book vendors there, um, with most being like all the ephemeral like mystery boxes, Funko Pops, um, and a whole half of the convention center dedicated to like meet and greets with celebrities. Um, if you're looking for like maybe just pure comic book experience, buy comic books, take yourself or your loved one who loves comic books. Um, little ones done in fire halls or hotels. Sometimes they run several times a month. I know in New Jersey, around where I live, they have like seems like they have one every week, almost. Um, and usually they're filled with like stuff like this. If you're not sure exactly what kind of comic book con is, and you don't know anybody who actually went to one, hit the YouTube. YouTube usually has like a whole bunch of like theme videos of like different conventions where the host walks around. Maybe you'll see like, hey, it's mostly comic books. Hey, it's wow, this is like mostly like creators trying to hawk their wares. Hey, this is mostly like stuff that doesn't have any business being in comic books, like like heating pads or cable companies or blood donation centers. Um, Las Vegas Comic Con a couple years ago when Wizard World Las Vegas had that. It was basically you could shoot a cannon through the whole thing and not hit anything much of interest. Um, but like do a little diligence to find out where you're going to, because you're going to spend money to go to this convention regardless, probably either a little or a lot. So always try to make sure it's the convention you want to go to. And once you sell at the convention, just make sure that you you move fast. Like I said, like even like the smaller ones you probably some of them you could just walk in and just pay your money and go in there. I would still advance a ticket there to make sure you get a ticket because you never know what might happen. Like they might luck into getting like Todd McFarlane as a guest, and all of a sudden all the tickets are sold out and you're stuck not getting a ticket. Um, Try to like it's absolutely vital if you want to go to San Diego Comic Con or New York Comic Con to and if you want like say like a weekend ticket or Friday or Saturday ticket or anything like that, to get online on the ticketing sales page the moment it goes on sale. So you get the virtual queue, so you can actually get the tickets you want. Elsewhere, wise, you might not be able to uh, get any tickets, let alone the tickets you want. Um, and even still, if you're on the queue, you might not be able to get the tickets you want. Uh, but still, you have a better chance if you like wait until you come home from work or whatever. Um, Also, a lot of the conventions have VIP packages. Something you need to think about is like maybe do you want to take advantage of a VIP package? Um, they all have their different foibles and quirks, Some give you exclusive comic books. Some give you early access to the show floor. Some like have a lounge where you could sit down and rest your weary legs um, after a day of wandering the hallways. Um, it usually adds an extra expense onto it. So you have to seriously consider that. I personally kind of like them, basically because I'm old and I have like all kinds of cracks and pops in my bones, and walking for an extended period of time or standing for an extended period of time can get kind of like um, painful. So I kind of like to have something where I could just a place where I could just chill out and you know relax every so often. Um, but you can check if the company you want to go to even offers it, and if so, what it is, and if it is valuable and worth it to you. Um, um, Once you buy the tickets and that other plans will be made, like transportation. Try to book your. It's cheaper if you book your airplane flight if you're going by flying, or you're going by rental car or whatever way ahead of time. It probably gets cheaper the further out you go there. Um, Also, you're um, getting your hotel room if you're traveling there too. Also, it is kind of like most conventions have like kind of like um, deals with local hotels, but again, like for San Diego, they sell it quick. So if you're able to um, like book a hotel that might be a little more expensive before the convention puts their special package on, you always try to get through the special package. But if you don't have it through the special package that the convention offers, you at least have a place to stay in there, so you're not like you know staying in La Jolla or Tijuana to go to um, San Diego Comic Con. Um, what you need to bring with you to the convention. This also involves planning. Um, Basically, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. In the post-COVID world, if you want to bring like a mask, um, wear it and wear it proudly. Um, you know, like if you have, there's a whole bunch of people there, and Con Crud was legendary even before COVID hit. But with COVID, there are sorts of comic book creators getting COVID, and like right now they have a lot of like medicine to help mitigate the effects of COVID, so it's not as bad as it was when it first hit, where it was killing people. But nonetheless, like if you don't want to like get sick, come in a mask, and if anybody like anybody gives you a hard time, just tell them to saw it off. Um, you should also come like there, make sure you have your all the stuff you need for the convention, like your lists. If you want to have like get a whole bunch of back issues, make sure you pack that. Make sure you like have your convention like sometimes like you have to pick up your stuff at the actual venue. Sometimes they mail it out to you beforehand, like the passes or the wristbands or the little plastic badges. Uh, Make sure you don't forget those at home because you might not be able to get them on site, or if you do, it'll probably cost you a pretty penny. Um, Also, and this is going to sound rough because it's a stereotypical comic book collector, comes to convention center every day, showered and cleaned. I used to think of this as I used to take like a little umbrage to this because of like, you know, like the it's not a really good stereotype for comic book collectors until I stood behind one young woman who did not do this and it didn't wash for several days. It appears, and it was not fun uh, for the respect of yourself and for other congoers. You know, do that. Um, you should also wear comfortable shoes. Um, and might not be an issue. You can do that if you're going to come as cosplaying, because a lot of times the cosplay characters don't really have the most comfortable outfits. They're skin tight, revealing, and usually have um, high heels. How can you fight crime in high heels? I don't know, but comic book creators draw them that way. But just realize, like a lot, if it's the bigger cons, it's going to be like several city blocks you have to walk back and forth, back and forth, back and forth on. And if you're in shoes that hurt you as soon as you put them on, by the end of the convention, the first day of the convention, you are going to be in agony. Um, so, I know, just try to keep that in mind. Try to cosplay as somebody who wears sneakers. Uh, you should also come into the comic book conventions with a realization that you are not going to be able to do everything that you want to do, um, especially in the bigger cons. Um, I have more experience with New York Comic Con, so I'll use that as a reference. Um, Say you want to get an autograph off of somebody and also attend a panel. These are on opposite centers of the Javits Center. The Javits Center is like 3 levels high, and the panels are in one area on the north side of the convention center, and the signings are probably in the middle of the bottom level on towards the south side of the center, and you will not be able to get there. It'll take at least a half hour to get between area 1 and area 2, and that's with not having anybody in your way, blocking your way, and taking pictures for cosplay and whatnot, and stuff like this. So realize that you have to prioritize what you want to see at the con. Make it your own individual con. Make sure you know what you want to do. Have a list that's like, I absolutely positively have to get Kevin Smith's autograph. I could miss the Dexter reunion show panel, or vice versa. Uh, Prioritize which you might want to focus on, so you're not disappointed when you can't do both. Um, I'm running through my list here as I'm talking to you. Okay, also, go over the understanding that you'll be standing in lines, a lot of them, constantly. Uh, and I think this is a universal truth through all level of comic book conventions, the big ones and small ones, and whatnot, and whatever. Especially if you have a celebrity guest, uh, or a hot Baron comic, or something like a new release book or something like this, or a special signing. Um, you will be in line constantly. You're even like getting in. Like if you go to New York Comic Con, you have to uh, go downstairs to this big holding pen if you don't have a VIP. Um, go into this line that snakes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to get into convention. So if you come there a half hour beforehand, you'll be in this line on hard concrete for like a half hour, maybe even longer. And it's and also know what kind of line it is. Know that you have to if you come there to New York Comic Con, you have to get in line there. I know San Diego Comic Con used to have to camp out beforehand, that in line to get in, and this is usually during the height of the um, Twilight fixation, stuff like this. Um, and Yeah, so realize it might not just be standing in line for a half hour. It might try to get there as early as possible, try to get in there as quickly as you can. Um, Coming there an hour, hours beforehand, maybe camping out. Um, Read up on this, go online, try to figure out how to do that, and you'll probably get a good understanding of how to do that, depending on where you're going to and what you want to do. If you want to get the convention exclusives before they sell out, you'll probably have to get in line way, way, way before they open the doors. Um, Another thing you could bring with you into convention, I would recommend, is food and drink. Um, like I don't know if I've never actually taken a um, yeah, I used to have take a water bottle in with you. You could get maybe a filtered water bottle, take it in with you. The Javits Center is really good. It has uh, these um, fountains. We could get the typical fountain where you push the button and the stream comes out. But they also have bottle refilling stations in the back, and we could just put the bottle there, hit the button, and the water just refill your water bottle. Do this because water is prohibitively expensive. Every kind of refreshment, food and stuff is really expensive in there. And if you're the kind of person yeah, I want to spend my money on comic books and not have to spend $20 for a taco, bring in some stuff. Something that's easy to eat. Don't bring a whole like you know salad setup or hibachi kind of stuff or anything like that. Within reason. My big thing is I like to bring like the kind bars, like clusters or a protein bar or something like that. Something that's quick, easy. You can unwrap it, eat it on the even as you're walking, and just it leaves a limited amount of like waste behind. And yeah, you can just go about that. But like you know, also keep in mind if like you have any kind of focus like being a diabetic or anything like that, then you need to eat. Make sure you have like food that you can on you that you can eat in case you get like a little. This happened to me personally, like since the last time I wrote this. You get a little loopy and stuff like this, just so you have something to get your blood sugar back up or whatever. Um, Keep in mind whatever you need to do to survive and what you need to do to eat, and just do that. There's stuff on the floor. There's like stuff. There's like little food kiosks around. Usually it's overpriced and not terribly good. New York Comic Con does have an interesting like underhang where they have a whole bunch of trucks which are better um, quality food, but still expensive, and you'd have to like leave the con to go out there to get them and eat them, and so that might be fun for you. That might be not what you want, but usually like I never had trouble getting in like some minor food items like like I said the kind bars into New York Comic Con. So if you don't want like to spend the overpriced stuff uh, at the convention, that's a good alternative. Let's see here. Um, Also, if you're getting like I said, in addition to like all the your lists and what you want there, if you have something specifically that you want signed by a creator who's going to be at the convention, make sure you bring that. Make sure you bring like extra pens. If you want him to sign like say like Rick Leonardi to sign like a copy of Cloak and Dagger #1, but you want it in silver ink, and make sure you bring the silver ink with you, ink pens, Sharpie, with you. So you can just hand it to him and say, "Can you sign in this?" Uh, a whole lot of like stuff like that. You have a special thing there. Just realize you're going to have to carry it around all day. So although New York Comic Con, I know at least has a coach checking thing where you can actually check your luggage and stuff like this, and you can just leave it there. So I don't know if you have free in and out access to that. I know like um, if you're the VIP, another benefit of VIP is they have like they'll hold your stuff behind there, and you just pick it up at the end of the day. And I think you might be able to add to it like throughout the day if you need to. Um, so that's one thing to think about. Uh, if you're going to buy stuff at the convention, and this is from personal experience, I saw with my own two eyes. Um, Bring cash. Everybody accepts cash. Cash is obviously a currency. Um, so as long as it's not counterfeit, everybody will take it. Nowadays, most people have Square and other kind of like mobile kind of like um, shopping commerce apps that they could actually take credit card shipments. Um, so bring your credit card. Should be no problem to do that. One thing I would recommend is like do not bring checks. Because I saw this happen. This kid came up outside a 50-cent bin. He went there and he had his checkbook out, and I could tell like you could tell like he was not as like a scammer because he's very proud that this is an accomplishment in his life. He has a checkbook, a checking account. He's kind of an adult. He's like this is a good thing. However, to vendors who might be from 2 states over, um, taking a check is a risk. If the check bounces, they're probably on to the next convention that's 5 states away or back home that's 2 states away, and they have no way of getting it back. You know, so you're I'm sorry, just checking my microphone. Your accomplishment of having a checking account won't go well with them because it's more of a risk than like cash, which is cash, and credit cards, which takes immediately out of your account. So try to stay away from checks, unless of course you will have a relationship with a vendor who because I had Excel like this, where I could give like them a check and they know it was going to be good, and like so I bought like, but that's after years of like buying stuff off them, so they know like we have the money for it. But yeah, I'd stay away from that if at all possible. Um, Also, try the one thing you can do research before you start a comic book convention. Find out how you could get to the con from where you're staying. Um, and it's good if you're driving in, find out where the closest parking garage is to your convention. Um, this is why hotel cons are great because hotels usually have big, big, big parking lots. They could just park in and just walk in. Um, Places like the bigger cons, so the hotels sell out pretty quickly. You might have to rely on public transportation. Uh, Not saying this because I'm a New Yorker, like in Westchester County. New York's transportation system is much better than San Diego's. There's copious amounts of buses. There's subways and trains. You could probably get from anywhere in the city to the Javits Center where the convention's held relatively cheaply and economically. Um, from what I recall, let's say it changed in the years I went there, like it was over like almost 20 years ago when I went to San Diego Comic Con. It wasn't the same there. The taxi cabs seemed to kind of be sort of at the time resentful of comic book creators, I guess because like they are notoriously stingy and not big tippers. I used to like hide my badge and say, hey, I'm going to like, and then when wait until I get into the car and I'm there, hey, we're going to door closed. Yeah, I'm going to convention center. Yeah, and their rail transit is not really good. You have to transfer from car to car at station to station to try to get from certain places in the city there. But know this beforehand because uh, you know after a day of walking through the con, you might not want to walk like 2 blocks to a train station or 5 blocks to your hotel or whatever. So you might need to take that into consideration. Um, some cons have shuttle buses. Um, Checking that. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. It used to be a thing back in the past, but check on that. Um, you also, when it comes to convention, before you come to convention, you should also have respect for your fellow con goer. And this is a kind of a blanket statement for a whole bunch of stuff. Um, and it's going to sound woke, but you know what? Like, you might be some guy in a really kick butt Nightwing cosplay who is getting ticked off because you have some people walking in front of you when some other guy's trying to take your picture. Or it might be somebody who is trying to get to a um, panel on the other side of the building, and you have this Nightwing in a really great kick butt costume taking up the entire lane of um, the whole entire row, holding up traffic just so someone could take his picture. Um, Comic cons are for everyone. They should be for everyone. I do hear certain like people saying like, "I'm the reason why comic books go on and stuff." A lot, unfortunately, against the cosplay community who say like, "We're the reason why people come there." Certainly, for some people, not for all people. I've never really come there to see a cosplay. I do enjoy it when I see it. I have taken pictures with cosplays before. I enjoy it, but it's not the reason why I go there. Um, so it's not exclusively for you. Um, but also just keep in mind, like sometimes it gets frustrating at comic book conventions moving around. Just try to keep your wits about you, trying to make it easy for yourself and other con goers. Um, you're making plans with friends. Your friends are all there. There's 6 of them. Go over to the side. Don't do it right in the middle of the aisle where people have to try and negotiate around with you and you're blocking a vendor and all kinds of stuff like that. Be considered that way. Um, Same thing with cosplay. If you're doing cosplay, uh, do that. Like just kind of like find a place out of the way so you can get the pictures done and take your time. You don't have to feel rushed and you're not affecting anybody else's stuff like this. Um, Try not to cosplay is not consent. It, a lot of the women who cosplay, um, who want to have accurate cosplay, it's not really their fault that they have to wear stuff where they're revealing what their parents gave them. Uh, it's just the way they're drawn and stuff. This and they want accurate. They have to be that way. That doesn't mean you could hit on them or sexually harass them or physically harass them or grope them or anything like that. Um, just like don't do that. That's not right. Um, be respectful of like where you are. Like one of the things, one of my pet peeves I had is at one time, I actually couldn't believe it actually happened. These people were talking, having a conversation, going down an escalator, and when they came to the bottom of the escalator, they took maybe 1, 2 steps out of the escalator, continued a conversation, planted right there. Who might see a problem with that? Anyone? Show of hands. Everyone? Yeah. The escalator does not know that you're having a conversation right there. So it's going to keep on delivering the steady flow of people directly in your path. People who have to now contort themselves to get out of the way, to get past you and get around you and stuff like that. That's dangerous. Don't do anything dangerous. If you have like a cosplay that has like big wings that you have made out of metal, but the ends are like kind of sharp, be careful as you're going through a con, because like one time I got stabbed in the chest by a wooden sword from some kind of manga guy, and actually broke the skin. I'm like, dude, um, stuff like that. Just be aware of stuff like this. If you have like a big backpack, you're traveling around. Um, uh, be careful. Know your wake. Because like I've seen a lot of people like with a backpack turns suddenly and like also they're knocking over displays and stuff like that. I usually go with a messenger bag, which is kind of like convenient. It's on my hip, and I can move it like if I need to get through a crowd, so it doesn't like I can minimize my size because I'm a big guy to begin with as I'm going through a hallway. Um, let's talk about what we could see at a convention. A whole bunch of conventions have a whole bunch of different things to see. Um, there's certain like theme conventions, like anime conventions are dedicated to manga and anime. You'll be able to find stuff for like manga and anime there, but it wouldn't be a place to go to if you want to get a copy of Mystery in Space number 86. Um, they'll have stuff that's mostly based on comic book signatures. Um, there's also they have like more on celebrity photo ops. So you'll find a lot of that stuff there. Um, you'll find a lot of merchandise. One good thing about convention is like comic books themselves are kind of like dying out in there. Not really dying out, but getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Um, but you'll be able to find it there. You'll also be able to find like a whole bunch of interesting stuff like replica weapons, replica clothing. If you want to dress up like somebody in Starfleet, you'll probably be in some if you're bigger cons, you'll be able to find somebody who's selling clothes that make you look that way. Um, you want to like buy some Funko Pops. Oh boy, will you be able to find Funko Pops. How about toys from your childhood? Yes, you'll be able to find that. There's a whole bunch of merchandise on sale there, going there. Another thing, this is where your research comes in handy too. Look at the if most good any convention worth their salt will list the exhibitors. What I like to do for New York Comic Con is go through the list of exhibitors and like Google their names, or if they have a website, go to their website and find out what they actually sell and stuff like this, and make a little note. Okay, I want to check these guys out. These are good. Okay, here's where his booth is. Okay, I'll try to make sure I get there at some point. I'm really big at getting like T-shirts, like kind of like the weird, funky kind of unique T-shirts. So whenever I see that, I try to walk that down. Um, a fundamental reality of comic book conventions today is that there's a lot of like celebrities there to do a whole bunch of like meet and greets and like um, you know trying to you know sell you autographs and stuff like this. So if you have a like just again you do research, oh wow, Eric Estrada is going to be at the New York Comic Con this year. I definitely want to get that there. But once again, you need to go in there with the reality of like how the system works. Um, photo ops, you could pay up anywhere from like for professional ones, 60 all the way up to 300, $400 for one. Um, sometimes you do like stuff at the table for 20 or more. Um, but if you get a professional photo op, you're not going to have a time to tell him your life story and then how like chips changed your life and how wow, does he really not like Larry Wilcox? No. Here's the experience of doing a thing. Um, you come in, you stand in line. You're in line like you try to get to like a half hour early. Just make sure you're in line. You probably buy your tickets beforehand, but it's uh, buy your tickets beforehand. But you're going to stand in line waiting to get in. Um, you'll probably stand in line longer than the experience will actually take, probably by a factor of 100 times as long. You'll go through waiting, waiting, waiting. Sometimes the talent is late because they're talent. Um, so you wait, you wait, you wait. Then all of a sudden they come there and they start letting people in. And you notice the line moves really fast. Because what you do when you go in there, you go into the room. It's usually curtained off. Nobody can see it. You're in there with the person by yourself, the professional photographer, and a couple handlers. The handlers tell you put down your bag or whatever you don't want in the picture over the side. You go in, take the picture. Okay, next, go out, take your thing, pick up your picture around the corner. Sometimes it will be you have to wait for it to get printed out, and usually it's printed out instantaneously. It is that's the basic main line when it comes to stuff like this. Some celebrities are more open and more stuff like this. My one friend got was a big fan of Boondock Saints, and he got a picture with Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery and I believe other cast members. And he told him he had I think he met him at the night before, and he told me he had like a tattoo, like of the prison number on his chest, and like they saw him, they remember like them, and like they held up the line so they could like get a picture of him showing off his number, and they're all looking at it like, look how bad it goes. So that was a terrific kind of like um, special moment for him, but that's rare. It is. I went to see Kevin Smith. Let me tell you a story about Kevin Smith. I hope I like my stuff doesn't run out of power because that would suck. But went to see Kevin Smith last year or last year Comic Con. Big fan of him since like Clerks. I saw Clerks on a screener video uh, from when I was like big in my movie. I'm still big in movies, but big in there. And like I was friends with like the clerk, and the clerk says you have to see this. Um, Made friends over that. Bonded with friends over his movies. Um, Felt like there's somebody who actually represents me up on screen. So I was very excited to meet him. Got there. I think it was like the meeting was for like 11 o'clock. I got there at 10:30. He doesn't show up until 11:45. And like I said, my knees and my ankle and stuff like this causes me to stand to be in like um, pain. And I was starting to be like feeling, and I'll admit it, a little resentful. And I feel ashamed by saying this, but like resentful that I had to wait that long. He comes in, line starts going quick, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this. It's going to be bam, bam, thank you, ma'am. I walk in, and as soon as I walk in, I put my stuff down, and I'm there. He opens his arms wide. Buddy, come on over here, give me a hug. And like, just like that. I mean, everything went away. And I'm getting to hug my idol. Certain people don't even want you to even be within 5 feet of them. You ever seen like those like look at Avril Lavigne photo op pictures, and there's legendary ones where she's here and the guy's like in another state, and it's before COVID. She just didn't want to have anything to do with it. She's just standing there like, eh. But he gave me a hug and he talked about this, and like I usually have a thing where like I want to go to the person, and he goes, "Yeah, man, that's fine, great." It was still short. I was still out there within a matter of seconds, but it was special. And some soldiers have that. Not all of them will. So don't be offended if you don't get that kind of treatment. Um, if you want to get like a little more conversation time, and not a lot because there's probably going to be a long line, is when you get the autograph. They're sitting behind a thing. They don't have rush there. They're going through. They're signing stuff anyhow, and you have a little more time to talk to them. And I was able to tell Mr. Smith about my that, and I tried to tell it as quickly as possible. I got it through, and he grabbed my hands. He goes like, "I love that, man," and he put, "I love you, man," on the picture, and that made my entire convention. I mean, you could have like hit me in the head with a brick after that, and I would said it would still be a great convention because of that experience. So I'm not saying not do it, but I'm just saying be forewarned. Not every celebrity is as monstrously cool as Kevin Smith. Not every photo op will go the same way. Just keep that in mind and make sure you are aware of that going into the future. Um, uh, you also could also, if you like comic books or like artwork, you could hit the artist alley. You could get like autographs and drawings and sketches from the artists down there. Um, some this is again research will come in handy. Sometimes artists will do uh, a convention sketch list beforehand, and you can put your name in there. Hey, I want to have Creeper on 8 by 11 by 10 or 8 by 11 or whatever, and do it beforehand. Paid when you get it. I think or all this various stuff there, and you could just go there and he'll have it there waiting for you, or you won't have to wait as long to do that. You'll probably have to pay money for it because that's how they make their money. They also are now starting to charging for their autographs. Back when I first started this, like I used to go to comics for a long time, but when my daughter was born, almost 16 years ago, I decided to switch over from like buying stuff because babies are expensive, and I can't really justify buying a complete set of ROM when my daughter needs diapers. But I would still go to conventions and go to like all of the comic book creators, and I had this big book called Marvel Chronicles. Came out like the year my daughter was born, and DC came out with a different one, DC year by year, and have all the creators who work for companies fill those out. So that's what I would do in comic books, because it would be in comic book conventions, because it would be free. Just go up there and they'll do it for you for free. Um, but then CGC came in, and people started like the the resale market for comic book creators, and they're selling their autographs became slightly like more expensive. So like people were flipping them for a profit, which the people who are signing it are not seeing. So they started to charge more and more for their autographs. And yeah, on the one hand, I could see that it is them getting money for the value they're adding to the book. But again, for me, like when I have like hundreds of people who I want to get my signatures in these books, that could get really pricey really quick, and it can become a price of like bouncing and stuff like this. And like I have pretty much two full books of autographs. It's to get to the point where I have to like find pages that have tiny little pieces of whiteness so they can actually sign it there. So I'm good with autographs. I got pretty much a lot of what the big ones that I like and respect and need. Um, but going there and having like even 20 people charging $10 a buck, that's $200 for autographs alone. And personally, as a comic book collector, if I'm spending $200 at a comic book convention, I'd rather spend it on getting comic books. Um, you might be different. You might be the kind of person who is the flipper, who's spending $10 for a comic book you're going to flipping, get $200 for. That's a sound investment. You probably have you know, a CGC facilitator who's such a good friend with you, you invite him to your wedding, maybe make him part of your bridal party, and that's you. You do you. Um, and I don't begrudge the people charging it, but just realize if you're going in there, expect to pay for a comic book creator's autograph, just like you would the star from Dukes of Hazzard from 40 years ago. Um, just be aware. Um, you'll also be able to find out a whole bunch of swag. There's you know, like from commemorative bags, from like a New York Comic Con. They said like big and like I said like publishing, and sometimes they have like signings with authors, and you get a free copy of the book that they come out. Sometimes you have to pay, stuff like this. Sometimes they have free galley editions they're trying to give away. You have to research and look around, and they have free book giveaways. Um, you might find like shopping bags. Like back when I was in, I think they're still doing it. San Diego Comic Con, Warner Bros. Came out with these big oversized bags that advertise all their stuff, and they have like 6 or 7 different designs, and they'd all become collectible. And it, you know, so you get a whole bunch of swag like that. A lot of it's free. Some, like, you might have to purchase to get the limited edition, like near Comic Con 2025 thing. So, um, you also get like a whole bunch of other stuff, like stickers and bookmarks and like postcards and little tiny pieces of artwork and stuff like that they could get for free, um, from place to place and stuff like that. Um, you, Going to convention, you also be able to cosplay. Like I said, touched on it earlier, cosplay is very popular. I don't think it's the most popular thing in comic book conventions, but your mileage may differ. Your opinion may vary. Um, I've never gotten really into cosplay. I did it a couple times with my daughter when she was little, because for her, cosplay is just fun dressing up. And I don't mean that to be dismissive to cosplayers who take it seriously and it's their passion and stuff like that. I'm not trying to mean that, but if you're a 5-year-old girl, you're dressing up as Elsa, you're you're happy to be dressing up as Elsa. Um, one time I went as Darth Vader and she went as Princess Leia, and it was a real fun time. I was really happy. One time I went as like kind of like a discount Captain America down his luck, and she went as Wonder Woman. Um, and I still have pictures of those, and I still smile. We saw a professional role player that time, Riddle. She was hot off the whole Heroes of Cosplay TV series, so we got that. So if you want to cosplay. Me personally, I am a big, tall guy, and pretty much like um, I have this. So there's not really many comic book uh, characters I could cosplay as. I could go if I wanted to shave it off, goes to Kingpin, shave my head. Goes to Blob. I'm not going as the Blob, or stuff like that. But that's my own psychosis. Um, Feel free to go and cosplay as whoever you want. No matter what size you are, what shape you are, what religion you are, what race you are, what um, demographic information you fall into. Go for it. Use the imagination. Use your head. Don't let anybody stop you to do that. Because, like I said, I haven't done it much, but it was a lot of fun when I did it, and I gain a better respect for people who actually do it as a passion and do this as a profession to do stuff like this because it's really fun to actually have people come up to you and say, oh, can I get a picture of you? Oh God, you guys are so cute. Oh, and like it's just like it makes you happy. So don't be afraid of coming in here. Don't be afraid of like coming into conventions, no matter how you look, uh, and dress up however you want. Um, it's but do it within reason. Um, my one of my favorite memories of New York Comic Con was the fact that one person came up in as a um, Poison Ivy, and her costume was an applique here, a G-string with some things just on, and a tiny amount of body paint indicating veins, about not veins, we like God, I just had branches like around her thing, like tiny little branches and stuff like this. Um, and that's it. She was pretty much naked. And like when I say favorite, I don't mean like in a preferred way. Get your mind out of the gutter. But it's just like I remember like I was there with my wife, and my wife, to her eternal credit, pointed her out to me because I would have missed her entirely. Bill, look, I'm like bocce balls. Um, but then you see her later on there, covered up with an overcoat because the convention organizers shut her down. Um, and a couple years ago, a guy went as Venom with a similar thing, which is basically like had a speedo on and had like Venom goop all around him, but he's practically naked. They did the same thing about him. The hotel did that for him. So within reason, you don't want to be kicked out of the con because you're dressed inappropriately. Um, and like if you want that to be the hill you die on, go right ahead. But just realize that you know you know try to be respectful because not only you know but yeah, that's all I can say about that. Another thing that goes do it at comic book conventions are panels. Usually, I'm not a big panel person because I would like to get my information on websites where I could read it, uh, just because I could like digest it better. But panels are really big, especially like in San Diego when they have like the big time, you know, Marvel panels and DC panels, and you get to see all the sneak previews and like never before seen footage and stuff like that. And people stand in line for hours to try to get that. Um, if that's your thing, go for it. Once again, I'm going back to it. Research, research, research. Find out what ones are available. Find out which panels you'd like to go to, and take advantage of it. One thing I would like to recommend also to you, if you have a couple of days, con in there, like get in there a little early or leave a little late. Stay before or after the con and try to experience the con city as it is, like all the tourist stuff like that. Go have dinner in the Gaslamp District if you're going to San Diego Comic Con. Go see a Broadway show if you're in New York City. Um, you know, People come to these cities for because they're great cities, not just because they have um, like comic book conventions in it. So take advantage of that. Go to San Diego Zoo. Take a couple hours off the con. Do that. Explore the city. You'll probably have a little bit more. fun that way. Okay. Another thing I see thing here about like like just a little bit like of like warning here about like that about your cell phone. Um, Cell phone could be a valuable tool in every comic book convention. Um, you know, most conventions have even the smaller ones have websites you could do there. They have lists of like panel times and stuff like this. That's really good. It's good to have that there. Just make sure you do again research. Find out, does the place have Wi-Fi? Do you have to pay for it? Luckily in Javits, I think like it's picked up by your company, so you get free Wi-Fi as you're going through there. But also realize like if you're using a phone, like um, and this is not just like a convention thing. I'm in Disney. I've just taken some time like doing like some stuff at Disney, and just walking through people like with like their phones and they're on it and they're walking there and not paying attention to anything. They're in their own world and they're going through and they're doing stuff like this and almost knocking over people, looking like kids running into like displays and stuff like that. Just keep in mind that you are not alone in the universe when you're on your phone, and that there are, pull over to the side if you need to look at something, or if you're trying to text your friends and find out where you're going to meet up for dinner later at night. Um, and just like again, like be aware of like your surroundings and where you're going when you're talking or with your friends or anything like that. Well, I think that's just about it. That covers pretty much everything I've done so far. Um, and like again, I'm gonna, basically if you want a written version of this that goes into maybe more information, I'll provide the link to it in the description. Um, but yeah, if you have any questions that you might need to know about somebody like that you always want to know about comic book conventions but are afraid to ask, um, put something in the comments. I'll try to like look it up, uh, help you out with that if possible. And if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you can, and yeah, thank you very much. And as always, keep on collecting.